Good morning, Wednesday, March 2nd, which makes it, dear Lord, Tuesday, May 31st. Tomorrow is June 1st.
It's June.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's June 1st.
Yeah,
And that's going to mess me up for the rest of the day. Thank you.
Tomorrow's June 1st. So
you know what? Hold on.
Yes, sir.
I want to address that. I was in a class the other day, and somebody said to me, "Hey, you guys, how you do that 90-day out thing? What does that mean?
Oh.
What are you guys talking about when you do
Pray
that?"
tell.
Tim, what do we mean?
So, in the natural order of things, which changed last summer, I think in the world of real estate, especially in the current climate, things are changing. It's like Dorothy, Wizard of Oz. People come and go so quickly here. Hang on, we do have a guest joining us. Stand by.
No way.
Stand by.
Standing. Well, sitting by.
Where are you? Where is he?
There he is.
Go here. I'm going there.
And then with what?
I did this sort of out of order, but he's there. She is.
There he is.
Miss America. Hey, buddy. Were you doing?
Hey, man.
Were you doing
You're
D1
early.
hockey leg presses of 585 at 329 this morning? It's a lot of math.
Leg pressing. Yes, 585 pounds. Yes.
Excellent.
So my breakfast.
Yeah. I think at 3:30 this morning, Margaret and Jeffrey and I were shifting accordingly in our sleep. But we were thinking of you. I wasn't. Anyway, welcome, Jason. So Robert mentioned in a class yesterday, because we always, as we open every morning, reminding everybody that today is Wednesday, March 2nd. Tomorrow, 3322 is our award ceremony, the Golden Garys. I think the room opens, Robert, at 4:20.
420. And which room is that?
There's no medical reference to that. I would have gone with 422 because my affinity.
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't even think of that.
Well, what's going to happen is we'll say 420, but the people that are busy with 420 are going to show up at 422. So it all works out in the end. It's going to be great.
Hey, eventually they'll get. Yeah, well, they'll. You know what? At least they'll be relaxed when they get there.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat just said it was awkward that one of my cats is named after Jeffrey or Joffrey, the Boy King. Not named after Dr. D'Angelo. Yeah, Janina just thought he looked, and it's a long story about an adoption, and we changed his name, which people don't like us doing, but we did. Anyway, back to the dates. So it's really going to be June 1st tomorrow. And somebody asked Robert, Jason, why do you guys always reference that 90-day thing? What does it all mean? So what we're saying is if you get to a kitchen table tomorrow and they sign, they're a signed listing agreement. Before they become active, there's probably some decluttering. There might be some putting of some furniture into a pod in the driveway. You've got to take pictures, places. And then by the time it goes live, which might be, I think most people would argue, I think most of our wily veterans can probably get something on in 7 or less days if they need to, right? And then you're looking at time on market and days on market. If we're giving grace, we're going to say 7 to 10 days to get it ready to go to market after you signed it. After that, we're looking at about 30 days on market, give or take, right? And there's a wide berth there, but for most people, about 30 days. Then the average consumer coming with traditional lending, I think if you talk to Bradley James Kelly today, he would tell you you're about 45 days. So your kitchen table tomorrow is going to be more than likely a closing table on June 1st. That's why we do the math. That's the window we're in. The great James Shaw reminded us on January 1st that you should have 15% of your goals for the year underway. They should have been under contract. 15% of what you wanted to accomplish this calendar year should have been under contract January 1st. What I can say with most certitude, because of the meetings I've had since we got back from Orlando, almost everyone is behind. Said with love. Because if you listen to Sean Acor, who was our keynote speaker at Family Reunion, phenomenal job. His TED Talk, very similar, because he delivers a very similar speech. It's phenomenal. He talks about his... Yes, all the books, buddy. My wife is...
All the books on the brand new shelf to your right.
Well, Zoe laughs because I've just got piles of books because every time somebody... just the other day, stand by. If you were watching the national call on Monday with Jason Abrams, he held up this book, and it arrived yesterday. The Gap versus the Gain. Anyway, Sean Acor, 3 books from Sean Acor before we get back to that story. The Happiness Advantage, Big Potential. I also grabbed them on Audible, too. That way I can just turn the pages and he can read to me. So romantic. And then Before Happiness. His 3 books, phenomenal talent. And
I just love how you're keeping Jeff Bezos in business. I mean, you keep on buying him cowboy hats and rockets.
You know what? I care for the follically challenged, Robert. Anyway,
Well,
so
the thing is, you're buying him hats and rockets, and I'm buying him the fuel.
I'm not buying. I'm buying me stuff. The fact that he's the conduit for my goods to get delivered to my face, I'm not going to fight that battle. Anyway,
I paid for Shatner to go into space, and I'm okay with that.
Anyway, Sean Acord talked about when you have a teammate. When you're looking at a hill, it looks massive when you're standing alone. When you're standing shoulder to shoulder with teammates, the hill gets smaller, right? So just knowing that pretty much every realtor on the planet right now, and this is pretty much always true. Every time we have a training, Robert, I always ask two questions. Who has too much money in the bank? Nobody's ever raised their hand. Who has too many listings? Nobody's ever raised their hand. And the water cooler talk, because we have water coolers and people are back in the building, very exciting. Most conversations with most real estate peers is, there's just no inventory. There is inventory, Barbara. There is. Just have to face the shelves. We have to bring these houses to market. Unless you've been to Dr. Westcott's class and you saw Gary's shirt last week, buy dirt. Whole nother conversation. But have that honest conversation at the onset of the relationship with your consumer and say, do you think the home you're going to buy is already in existence? Or do you fancy yourself digging a hole, pouring a foundation, not you, but somebody that you're going to hire, right?
Not me.
And Jason can pull you through that entire conversation. What do we know, Jason? Somebody can buy the land. They can Kevin Costner it and be like, it's going to be great, right? If we build it, they will come. And then you've got your house that you built from scratch, from the dirt up, as Gary would say. And then you're like, oh, we should have done roofettes over the garage. Like, it's never 100%. Even when you build it to your design, it's never perfect. And people have to be okay with that. Mm-hmm. And new construction is more expensive than ever right now. And contractors, general contractors are way out. Getting somebody that can do it, like finding the land is the easiest part. So if you want to Kevin Costner it, do it. Grab a tent, live in a field for a while like you're waiting for Dave Matthews tickets. Fine, right? Above and beyond that, materials and a contractor are on a slow boat. It's taken a while, right? And materials are up, right? For sure. So I'm not telling people not to do that. It's still a great thing to do because we have the oldest housing stock in the country here. We need more new construction. We need more homes because a lot of people aren't moving. But if you're not having the conversation to find out if they're going to move, on June 1st, you will not be at a closing table unless you take those activities today. My long answer to your short question, Robert. Boom. I'm full of them today. Full of them. Chock full of them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm. Anyway, so
leaving it right there.
What's that?
Leaving it right there.
Yep, right there. We're leaving it right there. So again, the room opens at 4:20. If you're late for 4:20 because you're enhancing your life medically, the doors will still be open at 4:22. That all starts tomorrow on Keller
Tim,
TV.
what do you mean?
Some people require it to
require. I'm sorry. Still in the dark here, Tim. Still in the dark.
You lived in California. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, of the three of us, you've smoked the most broccoli. I'm just going to go out on a limb. I'm just guessing.
I don't remember.
There it is. There it is.
Well, I'm a hard never. So
yeah, I'm 1,000% never. I will. Cockteenies, and I'm also guilty of.
I'm the only. I don't know. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm the only guy in the room.
Enthusiast? Yes. Enthusiast? Yeah.
Well, you started off yesterday with UC Berkeley, so that.
Oh, God. Can you see him Indian style and a student sit in? Hey, man. Did you bring the broccoli, man?
Sunday mornings on the Venice Beach.
Everybody's got to level out. All right.
What do you think I don't have a tree, buddy?
Yeah. So, contracts, Princess. Yes. What do we got going on today? All three states. All three states. Two of which have legalized the sale of broccoli. Go ahead. I'm just saying.
I yelled at by Kaylee.
No, we're going to be fine. It's going to be great. So I said broccoli. It's fine.
Today in Mass, they're going to be going over the seller's property disclosures, and they're going to be starting the exclusive right to sell.
Okay.
New Hampshire, we're going to be doing the KW forms, KW disclosure, wire fraud, probably a few other forms we've been asking, agents have been asking about.
Oh.
A lot of people, if you guys really want to spend some time seeing some really cool stuff, go to the KWCLM forms. There's more in there than the wire fraud in the general disclosure that we're making you guys do. There are home harmless agreements. There are lease backs. There are different types of stuff that we want you guys using. We're talking about that a lot. It's a conversation that we've been saying a lot. Go to the KWCLM form. You're like, where's that? I'm like, it's in DocuSign and .loop, right?
Yep.
There's a lot of forms in that Stephen Hyde has drafted up, or other attorneys in the past that we've used. But some really good stuff in there, which we're going to review in some of those.
Excellent. Getting back to, I believe it's the 12-week year from Brian Moran. Great book. Just to chunk things down, because I think right now people are like, okay, we're 2 months in, right? Because we're now starting the third month of the year, if you're doing your math, and most of you are. So now you're thinking, oh my God, I've got all this stuff that I got to accomplish this year. Going back to Brian Moran's book, The 12-Week Year, and chunking things down to quarters, focus on what you need to accomplish to chip away at what you might be behind on for this first quarter. It's that simple. And when and take all the emotion out of it. If you have an accountability buddy, some people do, that you're having a call with a 5 at 5, like 5 minutes before 5 o'clock, do you check in with somebody who's also in production? I would argue not on your team. Somebody within our footprint, or if you're in the James Shaw call, or if you're currently in Bold, if you've been in Ignite regionally, find somebody that you can talk to who's far enough away from you that they extract emotion from the conversation. And if you're comfortable sharing your GPS and your 411 with them, that they know what your goals are for the year. And then above and beyond that, the conversation is just staying on track. And if you're behind, and I would argue a lot of people are, because I don't hear nobody's checked in the chat, nobody's called my office, nobody's texted me and said, I actually have too many listings. It's become a real hassle, right? And that's how we control the conversation. That's how we're controlling the industry, right? If you've got leads, and all of us do, and this is the other thing, the Glengarry Glen Ross, right? The good leads, they're all good leads. You can't tell me a lead's terrible if you haven't called it. Yes, the good leads. Yes, wrapped in a bow. You've got a phone full of them. And I was on with, and I'll give him buckets of credit because he's had a phenomenal couple of weeks, Brandon Schaefer, who is arguably, to my knowledge, so no judgment, if you're doing better with your metrics, I'd love to hear about it. He's a dedicated ISA / OSA, because the differentiation there is an inside sales associate is somebody who's calling the Mets for the team. So he's making calls for Zoller Group, and he's calling people that are known to the team, and then, of course, he's calling the inbound leads that they haven't met yet, the OSA calls, the outside sales agent calls. So he's a hybrid of both. He makes calls all day, every day. Phenomenal at what he's done. And in the last couple of months, he's teed up, I think, a 775, like a 975, and $1 million. Unmet. So if you're teeing up a relationship with 2 decimal points, with somebody you've never met, what if you called the people that you know? And we've got to be okay with that. And whether, people are like, well, the care call's over. That was like a couple of Marches ago, Tim, because we're about 11 days away from 2 years into this. It was March 13th, 2020 when this all started. So if you think the care calls are passe, I would politely disagree with you. And I think we could have a conversation about why they still work. If the gratitude calls make you uncomfortable, which is probably the easiest one, just calling Robert, calling Jason, calling somebody in your phone, and just even if you only do one, I would argue you could do a whole day of these, boys, but I think if you only called one just to get some wind in your sails, like, hey, Jason, saw you posted about doing 600 pounds on the deadlift with your legs, driving past the rink in Dover, remember when we played hockey, remember when we coached together, and I was just wanted to call and say how grateful I am to have you in my life. Gary's got the math on this. 0.0 humans are insulted when you call them and tell them that you care. So that conversation goes well. Eventually, he's going to ask me how work is, and if he still thinks I'm at Liberty Mutual, that's all my fault. There's my chance to be like, I'm glad you asked. I got my license a few years ago. I'm with Keller Williams. Who do you know that I should know? What do you mean by that, Tim? And we go into the BLT. It's always a food analogy, right? BLT, buyers, listings, and talent. But we're going to lead with listings. Who do you know that wants to list their home? Buy a home, join the real estate industry, because maybe Jason's working at Liberty Mutual and he wants to leave. So many opportunities for conversations. Right now, the puck you should skate to, you're welcome, Jason. And Gary had a great shirt. Did you see the shirt? I have to get you this shirt. I forgot about this.
Buy dirt.
Well, he had that one, which everybody loves. It was the great Wayne Gretzky, right? Skate to where the puck is going to be.
Yep.
Gary plus that, and Gary has a shirt. It's also in the Red Label store. Be the puck. Yeah, rather than skate to where the puck is going to be, just be the puck. Be the leading edge, right? So great shirt. You have to get that shirt. We'll track one down for you. Now that you're extra medium, wow. We have to check your new size. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that being said, are you having conversations with the people in your phone that you know and love and trust, and opening with care, opening with gratitude, getting to the point where they ask you about work. And I would take it one level further. The people that we know and love and trust is one thing. The people that we know and love and trust and have transacted with is a whole nother level. But another subcategory could be the people that I know and love and trust that I also know own a home. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I want to talk to my friends that are homeowners, because at least I can have the equity conversation. Like, you know, rates are changing, things are changing, and has anybody talked to you about what you currently have for equity in your home? Whether you want to refi, whether you know, and as rates change, maybe refi, maybe they've done it already. Maybe they did it 6 months ago. And rates, standard reason rates will probably continue to climb a little bit. Or maybe their next logical step is actually we want to sell. And I'm hearing a lot of this, and I'm sure you guys are too. Yeah, but when we do sell, where the hell are we going to go?
Oh.
That's our job, to find their next home, right? And you could explain to them, this is what I'm doing right now. I'm looking to create inventory. Because the domino effect that it will create when Robert and Michelle raise their hand and say, actually, we do want to move. And it becomes whack-a-mole because the hands start going up and all these houses start coming on the market. And we create the inventory that we say that we don't have because we start to do what we're supposed to be doing, which is talk to our people. It's not more difficult than that. We're making it difficult because it's fun to make it difficult. We love to fancy ourselves rocket scientists. Like, oh my God, if you only knew what I have to do. Oh yeah, 80,000-pound phone, two-face, with mouth that you own and is free. Say the words. The Adele script, right? Hello. That's it. Not more than that.
I thought that was the Lionel Richie script.
Either way, yes. And then the B side of that 45 is Dancing on the Ceiling, which you'll be when you finally get to the closing table. Yes. Presuming that you can afford suction cup shoes, which you might own.
I do.
Somebody asked if exclusive right to sell was for real estate or broccoli. I'm going to give you this one. We've got teams within our footprint that are selling land to people that are growing broccoli. It's a thing.
Absolutely.
In states where it's legal, it's a thing. So
There's CEU classes on how to do it.
You could help people buy dirt. They don't even want to put a building up. They want to grow it, right? They might be building grow houses too, but whatever. And if and I apologize if this conversation offends you because you don't play in that arena. I'm not a broccoli guy, but I'd sell land to people that want to grow broccoli. Any pot in a storm, right? At this point.
Well,
let's just create business. And then these people have to live somewhere. You're reverse engineering the conversation. More often than not, we're having conversations, and I'm helping Dr. Robert Vincent move into his house. Gorgeous, by the way. Gorgeous. Circle driveway. He's knocked down all the trees in the back, drove over himself last summer. Then my next logical step is, does he have a private practice? Does he require a new space for his practice? Right? We have so many clients who are buying residential transactions through us. We don't ask the commercial question of these business owners, right? Like if we were in a different venue, if we were in a different industry, and Nathan wasn't connected to a whole bunch of realtors, and some kid sold him his house up in Chickenboro and didn't ask the next logical question, hey, Mr. Dickey, you've got Dickey Industries. How many buildings? And I've lost track. What do we got? I mean, mega agent offices included. Let's just 10-ish, 11-ish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need an office in Sunapee. I need an office in North Conway. But we're not asking that question. So I think if we sit down and we start to have conversations with our friends and what they're doing with their businesses, the growth they need for their businesses, and what they need for their next house, even the equity grab to make the changes to the house that you might have, right? We joked about that. Somebody sat home for the last 2 years and they're like, I think I want to get rid of the deck and build a bigger one. Or I think I want to get rid of Steve, right? People are building decks, building out their basements. Maybe 2 years locked in the house together. Their marriage changed. Now they both need a house, right? Who knows? We got to ask these questions, and I just think we're not. James Shaw was talking this morning that Gary would tell you that we don't have a lead issue. We have a conversion issue. And I agree, because you've got a phone full of leads that you haven't called. Don't lie to me. I love you, but you haven't called all your people. And you certainly haven't called them 7 times. And we have to call them 7 times to remind them before they forget. That being said, I've always said I don't think we have a conversion issue. I think we're having a conversation issue, right? We can't convert what we don't converse. If you're not talking to them, how do you possibly expect them to get into transactions? Especially if they don't even know that you do what you do, which is horrifying. That's our job.
Hey, when are we doing the announcements for the contest?
Oh, yes, sir. We are here. We are here. So we
Uh-oh.
did with Grace.
Here come the Russian lawyers down the hall to make sure this is correct.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't mean to open this can of worms. Sorry.
Yep.
I
Get us out here into the
break out the
Fortress
legal
building.
guns.
I'm so pleased to announce that I am not going to get subpoenaed by Michael and his team. I think Michael will be spoiler alert, Michael will be most happy with the results. So what's interesting is we got a whole bunch of people, and then we get into 4s and 3s and 2s, and the list goes on and on. So I'm going to give you the top hits. And I did hear from somebody who would have placed, and we had a pretty good conversation about you have until midnight tonight because of the grace of Zoe Kirkpatrick. She gave everybody all day yesterday to cobble their numbers together and slide the beads on their abacus, and yet we still didn't get emails from certain people that promised me emails. Although, in the spirit of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Timmy and the Listing Factory, it's right here, black and white, clear as crystal. You stole Fizzy Lifting Drink. You got to follow the rules in the spirit of the theme that we were doing. So, in first place, and it's up to the individual. Whoever takes first, it's almost like a Yankee swap. Right, you can go up and take whatever gift you want. So they don't have to skate right to, I'm going to take this because I think it's valued as the most expensive. And I threw about $1,000 on the value of this because Family Reunion was $1,000. I'm seeing right now that Mega looks like the in-person ticket is going to be $600. So obviously that's the deemed value of first place, which goes to Michael J. Whitney. 10 listings came in for him. Second place. And Sneaky Ninja like second place, only for the fact that I just didn't see this coming. He was about to go to Family, and Christian, our good friend Christian Scott, didn't make it to Orlando because I think he was not feeling well. So in the midst of planning a trip to Orlando, being under the weather a little bit, still pulled off 6 signed listing agreements. He's in second place. And then number 5, you know her as Mother Teresa. Darlene Caldwell Ellis pulled into the conversation with a 5er. So we go 10, 6, and 5. After that, we've got Jennifer Cartier at 4. Shannon Casey pulled in with a 3. And then we got 3s and 2s and a whole bunch of people that did some great work in February. So Michael Whitney gets his choice. He can either go Mega Camp in-person ticket. Now, he's a Mastery client. He's involved with some overseas market centers, so he's probably going to go anyway. But we're happy to send him. Second place is going to be your $500 market center money. So you can take this and apply it to your rent, your agent bill, MAPS coaching. You can take Jason and Robert and I out to dinner if you'd like.
That sounds perfect.
Nailed it. And then
Done.
third place, which I joked with somebody yesterday, was steak knives, and they didn't really pick up on it. That's from Glengarry Glen Ross. Third place is, of course, the $100 to Nathan W. Dickey's favorite restaurant, Massimo's. So I think, I'm not sure, but I think that Michael Whitney is probably going to take the Massimo's because he yeah, he's going to go get the manicotti to make it, literal. So that being said, those are our top 3: Michael Whitney, Christian Scott, and then Darlene Caldwell Ellis. So they get their choice of those 3 prizes. We'll talk to Michael, find out what's left, and then congratulate our others. We are going to celebrate. I know we had a hard conversation today about get on the phone and talk to your humans and create the inventory that we say doesn't exist. We're going to celebrate what you guys absolutely beat the daylights out of in the last 12 months up until December 31st of 2021. Some phenomenal numbers. Some really cool celebrations of what people accomplished outside of their business within their lives. And we'll talk about all of that tomorrow. Room opens at 4:20. If you're busy, if you're in a cloud of smoke, the door will still be open at 4:22. And then we'll get things underway around 4:29:59. And we think we probably have about a 90-ish minutes, maybe 2 hours. I mean, here's what I know.
We're doing a live viewing here in Meredith.
The host is very verbose, so it's going to be up to the production team to make sure the host does move quicker than usual. So,
I've got the hook ready to go.
Oh so. yeah, like the bee on The Simpsons. Cuidado, and they grab the hook and pull me off stage. Yeah, so we're looking forward to it. We're thrilled to be in business with you guys. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you're looking for Alana Babineau for marketing, March Marketing Madness, all month long, bunches of classes. Yesterday at noontime, by the way. Don't forget, if you look at your email yesterday, right around noon 15, I think, a massive monthly email comes out at the first of the month all the time from Zoe. Everything going on. And we're talking about from our campus all the way to international. There's a lot of cool stuff. Don't forget, next week, there's an opportunity to go to Mohegan for the regional event. Next week, we have a shift workshop for 2 days with our Director of Education, James Shaw. Tons of stuff. It's all in that email, so start to figure out where your face needs to be to get wicked smarter, to get more business. Alana can be tracked down at Time with Babs, B-A-B-S, timewithbabs.com. Questions for Jennifer Vachon. I'm going to do this. This is like Groundhog's Day. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it real quick. 603-682-3218. Cross that out. Actually call 603-234-2549. 2549, right?
89.
89. 2589. Yes, I screwed myself up by throwing out her number. That's the one you call, 603-234-2589. Jason Westcott, if you got questions for our brokers. If you need Robert's face, God bless him. Look at him. All smiles. All smiles. Look at He is timewithrobert.com. If you need me, it's meetwithcoach.com. If you have questions, comments, concerns, hopes or dreams, or just some help with the script. And this is important. I want you guys to know this. Like, just meeting with me, if you want to, you can put in the notes when you book the meeting. Just say, I want to go over scripts and objections. Happy to do that. And I can tell you, once we get through the month of March, and maybe peppered in throughout this month, Zoe's going to kill me because I'm saying it out loud. Maybe peppered in throughout the month of March, we're going to have little spots where you can jump in for 30 minutes and go over scripts and objections. Because I think that's probably one thing that's holding a lot of people back, is not knowing what to say next. And really, your next thing to when somebody has an objection, they are extending the interview. It's just ask another great question, which is just simply the next question. So my number is 603-834-2856.
Before we close this out, I just want to bring up, we have 28 people who have joined us this morning. That's a big number for us here.
1,000% is.
The 28 of you, thank you very much for joining us this morning for the information about who won the contest, what's coming up. This is what we do every morning. If this is your first time joining us, this is what we do is we cover all the good stuff. We specific dates like 420, things like that. We cover that. We make sure that you are fully informed.
He brought it up as a date. It's a timestamp. Keep going. He can't help himself.
And it's a timestamp. And I'm just saying that, Kaylee's going to have our butt for this. But let's just focus on the fact that we provide this kind of information for you, and we're losing viewers.
You did it.
Well, I wonder why.
And we're done. Well, they weren't sticking around for this. I'll tell you that much. Anyway, thank you so much. Have a great day. We'll see you in and around the Market Center. See you, boys.